Hello everybody. I'm hoping to show you a quick way to analyze your class data. This might be from a test or from a mid-topic assessment, something like that. It's going to be in a manner similar to what's known as a Guttman chart. If you've ever heard of it before, it'll help you identify what skills students need to learn next, help you differentiate between your class, within students within your class, and also give you an idea of which topics or which command terms or which type of questions are the most difficult and which ones are more approachable for your students. So I'm going to dive into an example here and let's just get started. So here I've got an Excel spreadsheet set up with the following information. I have the type of question up the top for my mock test. You'll see there it's got the command terms in it. It's got some good context for what the question is. Underneath that, I've got the marks associated for each of those questions and then the actual question number itself. I've also got my student names that have been, I suppose, de-identified. This is not real data, but you would have their names here. So I've got alpha down to Zulu. And I've also got a last column here, sum, and a last row here, sum. Here's where we can tally up our total results automatically using Excel. It doesn't take long to fill in an Excel spreadsheet like this in a test. Rather than you adding every single page, you just read the numbers off and you just type it in as you go. And you can let Excel do the work for you. So let's quickly find out how many marks this test is out of. So if I do equals sum, hide all these columns, the test is out of 25. Wonderful. Let's see how the students did. So we'll do the same procedure. So here, student alpha scored 17 out of 25. Wonderful. Let's do that for the rest of the class. Bang. There you go. There's all their student data. Wonderful. We can even do the same thing to figure out how many marks were scored total for a particular question. So I can do equals sum and we can go by columns. There you go, 48. All right. Let's go across there. Wonderful. Okay, now what do you actually do from here? So this in and of itself, the only usefulness from this would be to tally up marks. You can figure out an average or a median out of this data. There's some interesting things you can do with this. What I'm actually going to do first is copy all of this sum data, then right click and paste special as just values here. Because what I'm about to do is start shuffling the order of students. And because this column is formula based, I tend to always switch them to values, which removes the formula aspect from them. You'll see here if I click in, it still says sum B4 to K4. So if I just paste them all back down again as just raw numbers, you'll see it just converts to 17. So there's no issues with any formulaic changes when we start shuffling things around. I'm going to do that with the last row as well of sum. So let's figure out which student did the best, which student did the worst. All right, you could probably read off, but let's actually order them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on our topmost student here, alpha, and all the way to the bottom right, including this sum column, down at Zulu. And then I'm going to go to, so I'm just going to move my recording banner out of the way. Sorry, probably won't be able to see that on your screen. I'm going to click on editing, and then we're going to go to sort and filter. I'm going to do a custom sort. Now, this allows you to sort some cells. So I want to click on options. I want to order them from top to bottom. Yes. I want to sort by the sum column from largest to smallest. Now we click OK. Bang. Immediately, we now see our student list from strongest to weakest. So Charlie and Foxtrot were the two most, and Tango and Yankee, for them, are our bottom two students. You can also sort by the topics. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's sort by which of the, when I say topics, by the way, which one of the question types scored the most, which one scored the least. So let's go to, again, sort and filter, custom sort. And this time we want to sort left to right, not top to bottom. So we're going to sort by the last row, so row 30, from largest to smallest. Okay. And so here you have a kind of a very rough a guide of which students did better, which students did worse, and which questions were harder or easier. Actually, before I get into the more nitty-gritty, let's make this a bit more readable. Let me put this angle counterclockwise. That's much better. Okay, the problem is, say for example, question 2a, scoring out of 3. Naturally, where there are, well, I should say naturally, where there are higher scoring questions, you would expect higher total numbers, right? Identify is only, this question here is only out of 1 mark. So you'd expect when you tally it all up that there would be it would be a lower sum total. That actually doesn't give you a good indication as to the proportion of students which got it correct. And so what would be better is actually to do this analysis with proportions rather than with complete sums per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just copy this over to the right hand side. So I've got the same thing. I'm going to delete all of this data. All of this data. And instead what I'm going to do now is figure out how each student did as a proportion of the total marks available. Okay, so let's say we want to figure out what proportion of the total marks Charlie obtained. So we're going to write in Charlie's cell here for 1A equals to, whatever you got for 1A, divided by, so a little slash, the total marks. Now, if I want to fill in each of these cells, I do want to lock this row. Of course, we want to scan across columns if we're filling out all the information for Charlie. So I'm going to lock the row to row number 2. There you go. Charlie got 1 out of 1, meaning 100% of the total marks. What that means. Let's fill in the rest of the column, and let's do it for the rest of the students. There you go. Now, of course, because we're shuffling, I'm going to copy all of this and repaste it as just numbers. And there you have it. Here is our class data as a proportion of the total marks now. I'm going to repeat the exact same process I did for the first table, calculating the sum for each of these students. Now, these sums are mathematically related to their total score, but I wouldn't read into them very much at the moment. So let's complete the sums. And again, I'm going to copy and paste these. This might seem a bit silly, but it's just saved me a lot of headache. I'm just going to copy and paste these as just pure numbers rather than formulaic. Okay, from here, we're going to order them again. We're going to order them again. So editing, sort and filter, custom sort. It might take you a little bit to get into the hang of this, and that's okay. There's no, oops, I need to sort from top to bottom. It'll take a little bit to get into the hang of this, but once you do, I'm hoping you'll see the benefit of this strategy. Let's also sort from left to right. This must be thrilling to watch, just somebody work with Excel. But hopefully the excitement comes from when you do it with your class. All right, so here we go. Nice. Let's make these numbers a bit more readable, shall we? Let's reduce. Oops, I can't do it for some reason. Let's try this again. Whoop, wrong way. I always go the wrong way with these. Okay, so now our class data has been sorted from proportions best to proportions worst. Now what's interesting is if I color code it. So if I just scan the student data, I go to conditional formatting, let's just put some color on it. Oh, would you look at that? So what this actually tells you now, well, we can use this to analyze our student body. You'll notice that, can I draw something on here? Yes, I can. You'll notice that there's roughly like this triangular kind of pattern to it. There's this top left-hand side, which is where students got mostly 1s, mostly 100% of the marks associated. This is what the students know quite well. You'll see there are some students who perhaps made a silly mistake, or just need to fine-tune their work. And you'll also see this kind of bottom half of the triangle, of this rectangle, sorry, this triangular space where students are still developing their knowledge. In a student body where they're very, very strong, you would expect something like this, where this whole section would be green and very few would be red. But that doesn't actually signify, that could also signify a very weak test as well. So what you can actually do with this is figure out where students need to learn next. You can actually use this to define, if you think back to your educational theory days, Vygotsky's zone of proximal development for each student. So, for example, these students here, this is just rough, you don't have to be perfect. let's say these students here, you'll see that there are some weak students which need to perfect identifying and writing, some students which need to perfect their writing and drawing as well. So these students here are probably worth grouping together. Oh, I forgot Tango in there. Are probably worth grouping together because they have similar zones of proximal development. They need to focus, on roughly these three skills: identifying, writing, and drawing. Okay, those types of questions. So let me just go ahead and maybe put a box around them. If I can figure out how to do it. Here we go. Wonderful. So these students, that's their zone of proximal development, these kind of skills. The next group, again, you can do a kind of rough pick. Maybe around there, I'd say, yes. That's their zone of proximal development. And these students here might be theirs. And you might be able to split this even finer still. You might want to do that. This is just an example. And so Zulu, X-Ray, Sierra, Yankee, and Tango should work on identifying. Should write on identifying, writing, and drawing. Bravo down to Oscar should work on calculating energy, describing species, and explaining impact, whilst these students here should work on these types of skills. You'll notice that the more complex questions or command terms, according to Bloom's taxonomy, should typically be on the right-hand side of this table, whilst your easier and more approachable ones, like listing and identifying, should be on the left. So that's worked out. Wonderful. This strategy is really useful, as I said, for a mid-topic test because you can actually identify the zones of proximal development before they do their actual final assessment. It could be used as a review of your semester exam grades, or it could even be used in a Year 12 class when you're doing your season of revision and you want to know, okay, well, which students need to focus on what particular topic. You can use this data from perhaps their trial exam. It is probably best used as well if you're using it in an ongoing fashion through potentially a test which almost self-marks itself in some way. So multiple choice tests lend itself really quickly to gathering data and hence analyzing it. You don't want to be spending every single day analyzing data for every single assessment. So you might have to pick and choose which ones you do it for. But hopefully you see the power of analyzing your student body this way. You can not only get a good grasp of which topics are easier, which topics are harder, and which ones you might want to go through again with the entire class, but also which groups should work on which skills next. Wonderful. Thank you very much for listening and happy data analyzing.